Reporting for Newsrael, I'm Dr. Anthony Harper here in the James Brady press room of the White House. And I was at the U.S. State Department today and asked some very challenging questions regarding Israel. You know, Israel's in ongoing Middle East conflicts. There's a lot happening there regarding Gaza and everything. And I had asked a couple of questions for the U.S. State Department spokesman, Matthew Miller. And the question was, America has a number of allies. What message do they receive when America harangues one of its closest allies, Israel, and their democratically elected leader, Benjamin Netanyahu? And I had a follow-up question about that. And by the way, the response from the State Department spokesman is after this video, at the end of this video. The follow-up question was, Benjamin Netanyahu is the longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history. Clearly, a majority of Israelis agree with his policies, and since a majority of voters keep re-electing him, how does this mesh with what President Biden seems to be calling for, which is essentially a rejection of Israeli democracy? And there's pushback by the U.S. State Department spokesman, Mr. Miller, on that and the matter. These are very challenging issues regarding Israel. Israel being a key ally, our really only ally in the Middle East there, that has been very supportive of the U.S. And we've had that wonderful symbiotic relationship with Israel. And of course, a lot of evangelical Christians here in America are very supportive of Israel. And these are key issues. I know that we often hear about the Biden administration talking about a two-state idea, a Palestinian state idea, which actually, by the way, a lot of majority of Israelis reject, and for they have given up land. They have withdrawn from land, and it hasn't been any more peaceful. So it's going to be very difficult for the Biden administration to get the Israeli citizens behind this whole two-state idea when a majority of them are in opposition to that. Of course, it's a very challenging time for the U.S. and for Israel, for the Middle East, and especially with in light of what Iran is doing and fueling all this and funding terrorism. So more to come, ongoing issues. Sad to say that we don't have peace in the Middle East right now, and hopefully that will be happening soon. I know a lot of people, and especially our audience, is concerned about that. So once again, here in the James Brady press room of the White House.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Matt. America has a number of allies. But what message do they receive when America harangues one of its closest allies, Israel, and their democratically elected leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, in a follow-up?
I think the message they should see is that we want Israel to live up to its values, that we want to see Israel live up to the same standards that we expect every country in the world, including ourselves, to live up to.
Thank you. Benjamin Netanyahu is the longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history. Clearly, a majority of Israelis agree with his policies, since a majority of voters keep re-electing him. How does this mesh with what President Biden seems to be calling for, which is essentially a rejection of Israeli democracy?
So first, I think that is a vast conflation of two very different things. So it is up to the Israeli people to choose their leaders. We strongly support their right to choose their leaders, as we do for the people of every country in the world. But we are going to engage with the governments that they choose to talk with them about what we think are the policies that are in our interest, what are the policies that are in their interest. And you have heard the president himself spoke to this in the week right after October 7th, when he made the point. These aren't the exact words, but it's the general gist that sometimes in the aftermath of a horrific event, your vision can be clouded and you can make mistakes. And we're there to offer them our very best advice as a country that's made mistakes in the aftermath of horrific events, and to try to keep them from making some of those same mistakes.
Well, it seems like there's an attempt to demonize the current Israeli government, their efforts to support the overthrow of the Israeli government with a lot of protests.
So that is not what you've seen from this administration. We've traveled to Israel. Secretary's been there 8 times, I believe, since October 7th, meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. The president has been there. He talks to Prime Minister Netanyahu all the time. The secretary just talked to the defense minister yesterday. We fully support the right of the Israeli people to decide who their leaders are.
Thank you.